So I've set up my bed, and the really important thing to do is to remember that you use very neutral colours. It's good to have neutral colours because also colour carries a vibration as well. And I've got some really warm snuggly blankets. I mean, not that actually when it's the distance healing it's not so obviously so vital, but when you do person-centered healing, it's good to have the nice equipment. So I'm using today, I'm going to use a flower. So I'm actually going to use these roses, these lovely roses I got from the garden. And I'm just going to place, so these represent feet, and knees, and then we have the root, sacral, plexus. I'm just checking that. Plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. So that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I've just picked these beautiful, these lovely rose petals. I want to do so imagining I want to do a really gentle healing for a client. And yellow roses to me always symbolise a friendship. So it's like universal friendship that knows no bounds. So I'm actually just going to surround the rose, which represents the chakras, with the yellow roses of friendship and love. But you might have other different things that you like as well. And again, you can put, in the centre of this, I could have a little pebble, I could have a shell, I could have some very gentle crystals, nothing too. So I like to use, I said, raw rose quartz. But what I'm doing is I'm setting a sacred space up. And then what I would also do is take a picture of this for my client and send it to them, because then afterwards, so then they can also tap into what's happening for them. Because the healing just doesn't finish when you've finished. It carries on afterwards. So obviously, I'm talking through this, but generally what I would be doing is I would be doing this in ceremony. I've got candles lit, I've got incense on, I've created a sacred space here. So automatically I'm starting to really tune into the healing for my beautiful client. And it doesn't matter where in the world that they are, because obviously we're all connected. So I've got everything set out. I'm going to take off my dangly things because I don't want, and if I shake my wrists I can hear shaking, which I don't want. And it doesn't matter whether my client is with me or I'm doing it distantly. Also perfume as well, you know, even sort of being basked in your own perfume. This is all about vibration and energy. So just, you know, sort of have your shower and just be cleansed and clear. So what I'm going to do is I now tune into my client. And I take some deep breaths and I actually then connect to them heart to heart. And what I'm going to do is, using the pendulum, is I'm actually going to just check their energy centres. So the feet, can you see this? It's going clockwise, but it's very sort of weak. And the right foot is counterclockwise. So actually this is I'm actually working with my mum right now. She loves her healing. So that's counterclockwise. This is her knees. I'm trying to keep my arms straight so you see that it's picking up the flow of her. So in my mind's eye, she's with me here on the bed. And that's the second knee as well. So both of those are counterclockwise. Roots chakra. So that's flowing freely. It's going clockwise. Sacral. I'm just going to close the door a minute. Solar plexus. Heart. Heart is very strong. Throat. Third eye. And crown. So actually, all her fundamental chakras are really good, really healthy. And yet the knees, the right foot were all counterclockwise, and then the left foot was actually okay, but weak. Actually, that would correspond really well with what my mum's got going on in her health. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to use the forks. So just so start with the Om, always with the Om. And so I imagine they're with me, they're here. So you're imagining your client in their space, but they're also with you here. And you're also with them. So So you strike the tuning fork and then you allow it to play out. First one ear and then the other ear. I'm going to do that 3 times. What I'm doing is I'm making sure that my feet are firmly anchored on the ground as well. You will also feel very relaxed throughout this yourself. However, you know, it's being aware that this is not a treatment for you. This is a treatment for someone else. However, you can still certainly get the benefits of treating other people. And you'll also notice that I'm not striking it too hard or too soft. I'm just doing it so that it's a comfortable resonance. Obviously, when it's distance, it's not as vital that you get that bit right because they're not with you. So anyway, we've done the ears, and now I'm actually going to go around the auric field. So a little bit like what we do with us. I'm just going to so like we do with ourselves, we go around the auric field. So I'm sweeping the auric field. And obviously what this is, you know, we have Wi-Fi, we have electromagnetics, we have geopathic stress. People can be working in different environments that bombard their energy field, and this is just a really beautiful way of bringing in the sound of creation. So generally we work to the rule of 3 strikes, but if you feel you want to do more, then you can do so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I do 1 foot at a time. Especially in the light that both feet chakras were different. If both feet chakras were open and balanced, I would just do it in the middle and incorporate the 2. But I just want to work with them both separately in this instance. So we're working again to the rule of 3 strikes. You may lose count actually, so you know, don't get too in the head, or how many have I done? Now, we saw that this foot was, it was counterclockwise, so I'm straight away going to bring it up and out. Now what you'll find is even though the actual physical person isn't with me, I'm still working in their energy field. And generally when I do a release with somebody, I then release, so I yawn, I generally yawn, which enables it just enables the chi, the energy, the ki to be released, up and out. And you'll notice I'm doing this with the Om at the moment because it presented itself and as a counterclockwise. So this is what I want to do with it first of all, is just prepare it. Now it just feels more settled to me now. So I'm just going to check in. You don't have to do this, but I want to check in to show you. And you'll now see that it's going clockwise. So just that little action of taking and releasing has allowed it to be released. So now I'm going to be putting in. So if I take out, I must put back in. The more you work with this, the more you get really in tune with the tuning forks. They almost become an extension of your own hand. So we know the knees. There we go again. So automatically, I'm a conduit, so I'm not taking on anything. I don't agree to that. I do my personal practice before I start. But what I'm doing is I'm acting as a conduit, like you take the lid off a pressure cooker. Ooh. So these are the knees are they're quite stuck. They're just taking a little bit of tuning and clearing. Now it gets to a point where you feel settled. And I want to show you. So we have clockwise. It's still weak though. And then the other one I haven't worked on is counterclockwise. So I've taken out, but I must put back in. So what you're doing is you're taking out discordant ki, energy. Our ancestors knew all about energy. Our ancestors knew how energy worked. Oriental medicine, Chinese medicine knows how energy works. A 5,000-year-old system of energy. And that feels just so much more settled to me. So obviously, if I wasn't sort of talking about this, I would now be just really, in this zone. I'm in the zone anyway, actually, to be honest. I can feel that my own brain waves have gone into full healer mode. So here we go. We go again. Not everybody yawns, but for me, it's I just help with the release. And it can be really, really quick, or not. It is what it is. This is the thing with energy. But again, that feels more settled. So I'll show you. I'll show you the one I've actually put the energy back into, strong. And then I'll show you this one. I haven't worked with the energy. So we've now got clockwise, but now I want to actually be putting in. So when I work with the distance or when I work with personal clients, I always have an intent. And the intent is that the healing is for their greatest good and their highest good. And so I see their body accepting and absorbing whatever it is that they need. And even working distantly to a person centered, you can still hear with the sounds when there's a discordance. The sounds sound different. So now I'm coming up through the chakras, and I know that they were all flowing freely. So just a gentle, and the thing is, because you've got the tuning forks with the ball end on, if you have wrist issues or arm issues, you literally can hold the tuning fork in your fingers and just allow it to do what it needs to do, because it does act like a pendulum. So one of the biggest things when you're starting out is to realise that you can change hands, because you don't want to be getting a repetitive strain in your shoulder or your wrist, because you're going to be working with muscles that perhaps work in a very different way than normal. So your comfort is paramount. I can't tell you how delicious this smells right now. All the roses, all the energy. It's almost like the sound is bringing out the scent. It just smells exquisite. You know, you could just have like a little tiny flower that represented each. I just wanted to do this because it feels like a celebration today, sharing all of this with you. I'm going to go to the solar plexus. And they all feel good. They all feel smooth. They all feel free. You'll notice I'm not doing this, I'm not speeding, and I'm not doing this. So it's really important just to get the right rotation. You kind of let their body guide you by, as I say, using the very little action and allowing the fork to do it for you. Okay, I've got to the heart space and I can feel that it's a bit more tense. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unwind, take out whatever is there. And the beautiful thing about this treatment is you don't have to know. Because sometimes, there's some stuck wind and I bad. But it's helping the client to release. But what I haven't gone into is the whys and the wherefores. I'm not working psychically, I'm just working intuitively. And I'm allowing the essence of my mum to just guide me where it's needed for her. Sometimes you get really stuck yawns and they take a little bit of time to clear. So even though the chakra was going clockwise, there was something within it, maybe in the past, that needed to be released. And you know what we're working with here is this life, past lives, karmic influences, and ancestral memory patterns. So things that maybe we have brought through from our ancestors. But again, what we're doing is we're just working really softly, really gently, really respectfully with the energy field of the person that has agreed and asked for the healing. It just feels that now it just feels a really beautiful flow. The other thing I want to do is I could just hold the tuning fork there in place. And then that just adds an extra part for it. Just a bit of extra vibrational energy going in. Then I come out to the throat. That feels okay. The arm is always used to prepare. So no matter what you do, whatever tuning fork you use, after that, the arm is always first, because what it does is it opens, it brings in spiritual health and safety, spiritual protection, working with the sound of creation, the sound of all, with divine love and grace. And it's the most important tuning fork that we've actually got in our toolkit. And I'm working with the violet ray tuning fork, and so that brings in that high chromotherapy energy with the violet colour. So we've kind of got a very strong healing intent going on with my own personal intent. We've got the tuning forks, we've got the chromotherapy, the colour, the violet, and in this instance we've got nature's blooms, the most beautiful, beautiful roses. you've probably noticed I've not kept to 3. I might have done 2 or I might have done 4 because I'm just in the zone right now. I haven't sort of done it as a military precisional treatment. I've actually done this for real as we are talking through it. I'm still with my mum. Now go to the crown. The sounds bring us close to our divine order and allow us freedom. Freedom from our mindset. Because when you start working with the sounds strongly, it helps to balance the right and the left parts of the brain, bringing in slower brain waves, and you becoming an alpha or a theta brainwave. And with practice, with good practice, you can actually get yourself to delta brainwave, which is where you can actually go out of body, and it's the most delicious place to be. It's like being passed away, but obviously you're still alive. And it's where great visions and prophetic dreams come in. So now I've done the crown, and I'm just going to come back to the ears. And so I'm going to show you just how to finish this on treatment. So we go around and we figure of 8. Now, in the sacral region, we've got what's called our hara, and it's our life force energy. So I'm actually going to bring it around to the representation of the sacral here, and I'm actually going to do the figure of 8, which allows us to seal in all the beautiful treatment. I feel like I'm just doing a little dance with a beautiful honouring of completion. And then I'm going to check the chakras again. Just hold my hands. If I hold it to my body, you can see easier. So the pendulum is actually making my hand move, though. So you can see the 3 chakras that were counterclockwise. They're nice, they're round, they're balanced. What I'm looking for is this pretty much the same energy flow for each chakra. Just allowing complete balance. So that's really good. That's really beautiful. If you have a chakra that still stays a bit stubborn, you can go back to it and then just release and bring back in. So now, what I want to do is I want to break the connection to my client, and I'm just going to literally bring almost like an energetic curtain down. I'm completely just disconnected from the energy of my client. And then take a step back. So I always give thanks. I always give thanks from my heart. So just so we've worked with the Om around the field, up through the chakras. We've ascertained it's in a really good healing space. Now, what you would normally do is carry straight on with the weighted Om. So it depends what medium you're using, what sort of representation you're using. But I'm actually going to stem the actual centre. Can you see that? I'm going to just stem the centre of the flower, which represents the foot chakra. But actually it's the foot dorsum, the top of the foot. But it's very gentle. It's a very, very gentle practice. Because what you don't want, they'll be very relaxed. Your client will be very, very relaxed by now. And you don't want to sort of bring them up and out. So we do one, let it play out, and then we go to the other side. And then we go, so it's alternate, so, you know, left, then right, left, then right, left, then right. And we do that 3 times. So again, it's the power of 3 or more. So Tesla once said, so Tesla was an amazing visionary, and he said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think 3, 6 and 9. So the multiples of 3, 6 and 9 are sacred numbers. And a lot of sacred geometry is based on 3, 6 and 9 as well. So we're going 3 times on each one. I'm doing this a bit faster because obviously I don't have a human here for me to work with that actual physical energy. Same with the knees. 3 times. What happens is when you work with people's energy, the sound is absorbed into that particular chakra, and you can hear it energetically, but you can also hear it with the and feel it, especially with the weighted ones. And the sound, if they need it, if that area of their body needs it, or that chakra needs it, you'll find that the sound will disappear really quickly. It will be, it's like it's absorbed it. So 3 times on each knee. Now, unless you know your client really well, you would not be stemming their pubic bone, okay? Because it's somewhat inappropriate. But what you can do is you can stem the thighs, the top, literally the top of the thighs. So what you're doing is